Good morning, district team leaders. Welcome to PartyCast Season 4, Episode 14. Hope everyone had a lovely Easter weekend and enjoyed a quiet weekend. Now we're kind of into spring. It feels like spring, even though spring started in March, but which probably means it'll snow in New Jersey this week, just so that we're all clear. Plus, it was really warm in March, which means we're probably due for like some freak May snowstorm somewhere. But anyway, we've got lots of good stuff to cover today. We've got Craig joining, so he's going to talk about some balloon production log reporting enhancements that are actually already in the KPI performance dashboard that started coming out. So he'll talk through some of that. We've got our operational updates and some balloon updates that Amanda will talk through, and then a couple other just reminders and quick informational items that I'll share with you all at the end. For our gratitude this week, we've actually got a couple of different shout outs. I'm going to let Amanda and Leslie start, and then we'll actually dovetail into some of the stuff that Craig is doing. So guys, take it away.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, first we wanted to recognize Tara and her entire team at Store 408 in Watchung, New Jersey. Rolston, the STL, hosted us coming for a little bit because in the spirit of being uber curious and thinking that anything is possible, we wanted to explore the idea of creating balloon production centers to support some peak seasons like New Year's Eve and just things where we know we're seeing insane volume. And we're very much at the beginning stages of that, but between exploring the store, digging through things, asking lots of questions, they were just absolutely fabulous. And we learned a whole bunch of other stuff along the way too. So thank you very much. And please pass along our gratitude to the team.
Yeah, Leslie, I agree. I just to reiterate kind of what you were saying, I think Ralston did a really nice job. The store was super welcoming, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do in the sense of adding these production centers to help alleviate some of the stress on the stores during these key periods.
Cool. All right, good stuff. And Craig, I think you've got some shout outs too, but I'll let you kind of take that as you transition into talking about some of the enhancements we've made for the balloon production log.
All right, so thank you, Chris, and thank you, Amanda and Leslie. That was a great visit at the store, and I thank the team as well, Tara. Getting into some of the changes that we made for the balloon production log, it's really the reporting that we're updating. So up until this point, what we've seen out of the balloon production log was that the order was completed through the log. But a lot of you have asked the question, especially with our balloon promise that we're starting in 2024, is how do I know if it was completed on time? So that was something that I dug into. I worked with some DTLs that I'll give some credit to in a moment because they were great in their feedback. But what we did was we said, let's take a look at the reporting and see if we can find out when the order was actually completed. And that's really completed in the fact that through the balloon production log, they hit the complete button to say, yep, I finished the order. So we're changing the reporting. The reporting starting on Monday showed you basically what the completion percent was based on them completing the order based on event time. What I mean by that is if the order was to be completed and picked up by the customer or the carrier by 10 a.m., the order had to be completed through the app by 10 a.m., really 9:59 and 59 seconds. If it's completed by 10:01, then it's late. What we're trying to do is make sure that order is ready, make sure the high float is dry, so that we give the customer the best experience they can. And they're, again, back to our promise of their balloons will float through the entire event. So some of the stuff you'll see on the new reporting, you'll see the total orders, but now all the late balloon orders are based on that criteria that the order was completed by the time it was to be picked up by the carrier or the customer. And if you think about the way the balloon production log works, we're actually giving the store a 30-minute buffer based on this, because we ask in the log for all the orders to be completed 30 minutes prior in order for the high float to have time to dry. And that's important because we don't want them bagged too early. Otherwise, the high float doesn't get to dry. It doesn't get the full inflation time during the drying process before they're bagged. So we really want to make sure that we get them completed on time and in advance. The other thing you're going to see within there were some tweaks made. We were finding that some canceled orders were showing in the total orders, so we fixed that. That was a call out by a couple of the DTLs. The last thing that we'll get a lot of call outs about is about the walk-ins. Anything that's done within the hour, so if an order comes in and it's to be completed within the hour, we're giving the store credit. We are not looking at any of those orders being late. We're assuming that they're walk-ins, so please make sure they take those through the registers, do the inflation for a specific time. They'll get credit for those. We want to make sure that we're focused on the right things for the stores and the detail, and from your group as a detail. Some of the great metrics we saw move. So giving the credit out, the 5 DTLs that I'd really like to thank for their assistance: Mark Zimborski, now at SRDS, Owen Potter, Mike Wells, Spencer Carlson, and Jan Kraft really created some great feedback. Some of the great movement that we saw. Mark was the lead DTL that started with me on this. When I first ran this report for him, his percent was around a 12%. So if you think about where we are now with just completed, we do a lot of system things to complete the orders. Mark started at a 12. As of last week's report, I think he was at like a 1.2% not completed on time. So it's really bringing that percent down, really being to drive on the right thing. Mike Wells, I brought him on later on. His percent started at 7.2. He's down, I think, to almost a 1% as well. So it's really giving you a tool in order to coach. The other piece that will be given with part of this, we're going to give you a details page. You're going to be able to see all the details behind the orders that did not get started and completed on time, and use that as an opportunity to coach your teams, find out why they weren't completed on time, work with them to fix and resolve those issues, and help them be a better balloon production store, and really help drive the customer promise that we have for this year. So any questions or concerns, please reach out to me, let me know. This number will tie to what is now going to be in the trend report that Cameron's team put together. So we work together to make sure those numbers tie. So any questions between those, please let us know, and we can go from there. Back to you, Chris.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Yeah, this is a really important number for us to be able to manage the experience, right? So the number itself isn't important. It just is our reflection of what we're delivering to our customer, and from a promise standpoint. And in time, this will be what we start to measure against and talk to our customers directly about. Is hitting that time frame for them, and that really being our promise to them that we're going to have their balloons done right and done on time by that time that they're saying. So good call outs on the walk-ins. I know there were some questions that came in last week about that. So good information. I think this explains exactly what on time means. So thanks for walking us through all of that. For the DTLs, as you're having these conversations with your store team, certainly pass along any questions that you're hearing and want additional clarity, or where we might be able to provide some additional support tools, whether it's additional training information or videos in the future. I definitely think that as we get into the grad season, we'll put together some quick hit videos that we can do for the stores that really talks about these things, because I think this really is a key part of our balloon offering to our customers. So great stuff there for sure. All right, let's move on over to speaking of balloons, any balloon updates, as well as I know we've got a transition going on this week. So Amanda, why don't I let you talk about those things?
Yeah, I definitely will. First of all, Craig, really nice job with the reporting. I think that this is going to be a big win out to the DTLs, to your point. And I think that one of the key call outs I would just make sure everyone understands is that the reporting looks very similar. So you're not getting something that looks very different. It looks very similar to what you have. It's just the data in the background that it's pulling from. And so I think this is a huge win for them. Really nice job. You also mentioned something on there that I just wanted to stress for a second, and that is the really insightful information on high float, because as we move towards all high float, all latex, including high float in April, it's going to be really important that the stores understand that process of making sure that it is complete and dry, and that we are not bagging too quickly, because when we bag the balloons too quickly, it does cause a longer dry time, at which point, if you picture this liquid inside the balloon, if it doesn't dry right away, it can drip. And when it drips, it leaves a little space on the balloon, which then reduces the float time. So all those points are really, really smart points that we just want to make sure that we stress with our store teams. From a business standpoint, this past week, we had the shift in Easter up, right? And we trended down about 1.7 as a company. But for balloons, we were down almost 4%. And that shift up in Easter really does mean a shift out in other celebrations. And that we see that a little bit more so in balloons. We had our seasonal up, right? Seasonal was up almost 200% in Easter. But we did see negative comps in all three other departments. We saw baby shower, juvenile, latex. They drove these big misses. So I think we have to revisit that after the shift to really get a true vision of where we are at to season. One of the things that was a big miss last week was weights. We had a $28,000 miss there, and of that, 3,500 was shrink from BME. And so we're seeing improvement here now that we are starting to focus on it. But last week, we still saw a 19% miss. And so I just need to ask everyone to have their continued leadership and guidance on their visits and on their calls, because we're doing better, but we're not necessarily doing good yet. And so we really want to see that every BME bundle that goes out is inclusive of having that weight in the transaction. So the teams did a really nice job on BME last week. They sold over 7,000 bundles, but we just want to make sure that we get that weight in there. As for this week, operationally, we really want stores to narrow their focus on a few key items. And so you're going to see that their aim was canceled this week. Just a reminder there. And our stores are going to start with an accelerated 48-hour plan to transition out of Easter and into full summer and patriotic. And to do that, there's a pretty easy 4-step process. There is a transition plan out on Party Central, but basically they are going to start by packing up that St. Pat's clearance. They're going to move Easter and do a markdown of that 75% off. A special note here, spring is displacing into Mother's Day, so that won't see a markdown. And then the stores are going to set, right? They're going to set that summer and patriotic. And I think what you may hear from your stores is, hey, I have more Easter than I can fit on this grid or 2 grids at the back of the aisle. So what do you do? And that guidance there really is that they can use the summer space towards the back of the aisle. You want to set less summer and have that delay there and keep the Easter out so that we can do most of the sell-through in that point. And then at that point, once we are ready to go, we would fill up what we do have set. And I think working the program using the resource allows you to eliminate carts, right? We've all been in a situation where we've walked into a store during transition and their shopping carts full of product. We want to eliminate that. If they go in order, this helps that happen, right? And the stores would be using early mornings, late nights if they need to, depending on their schedule to get this done. This week, besides transition, there's also a few sales drivers that we wanted to focus on during this time. So in addition to your Easter and Easter candy clearance that are going to be 75% off, there are 2 summer promos. There's the beach ball and the sippy cups, and just some select birthday promos. We're extending some of the 50% off, and we're moving some of the 50% off to 75% off. And then we are doing an addition of a 24-piece buffet set stack close to the foil grid if the store has space, right? We know these sell really well at this time, so having that case stack out there will help, but it's not mandatory if there's not space in the store in order to make that happen. And then the last sales driver piece that I wanted to talk about was the balloons. We know that the new set is coming However, it is not happening until the 15th, so we have about 2 weeks. In the interim, we have seen sales coming through BOPUS orders. So we're asking that the stores relocate these boxes of balloons. There's about 3 small, like half-size AmScan boxes. If we can relocate them to the front counter, that will allow us to be able to pull those orders. We're excited to have the sales. We really made an intentional decision not to turn them off because we are seeing the sales come through BOPUS. So I think that will help stores be able to continue to drive those sales. And then just moving into rolling balloons for 2024, the readiness assessments that are due for 15, you're going to see the preview that was set up in Party Central switch over to an actual task now. So that will turn off, turn back on as the task. And I wanted to make a call out on that we got we got one call out from the field that there was one difference in the assessment versus the MPP in next gen locations. And that was that it spoke to a mini column that we are asking to have at the rail that was not actually in the MPP. And so I wanted to talk through this because I think that you guys get this question a lot from your STLs. And we do want to have that mini column. It is not necessarily from a grab and go standpoint. We know that this is not something that is being readily grabbed and purchased off of the grab and go, but it is the only space where we can show that we do offer this. And so having one available opens up conversation and opens up the customer thought process to be able to say, oh, I can get one of these in retirement if I would like to, or I can get one of these in a baby shower, but we want to put that one version of birthday out there so that it's visible to the customer at this time. So with that is really everything balloons and operations that you have going on in your stores this week. So I'll hand it back to you, Chris.
All right, good stuff. And look, some good things to help drive some sales that Amanda covered. I mean, certainly transitioning into summer and patriotic will help spur some of those sales now that it's out. Really, the 75% off Easter. With the last couple of seasons, we've really seen good sales through good sell-through and sales that go with that from these seasonal clearance events. So definitely keep that out, keep it full. Use the different resources and tools that Amanda mentioned about keeping as much of that product out and available to our customers, because we do sell through it in these clearance events. It is called out in the email blast that went out to customers today, as it will throughout the time window, which is really the next 3 weeks. St. Patrick's Day, that pack away is available. That dropped on Friday. And it does remain on clearance. So if you've got it out in stores and they're still just transitioning those things, now packaway starts today, but we did keep the clearance pricing on there so that if a customer does happen to buy that, and we did still see quite a few dollar sales in St. Patrick's Day last week, we can do that. But I bring these things up because, we're in a bit of a lull depending on timing for graduation season in particular stores. We've really got to look at how we can continue to manufacture sales throughout April. So things like item of the week, some of these stack out, getting the transition and the summer product out there and front and center, getting the promos that Amanda mentioned signed and visible to our customer. Those are ways that we can continue to control and drive sales in our stores. And we really need that in April, and while we've got a bit of this lull period between now and the peak graduation seasons by market. So certainly take advantage of those things. A couple of other things going on I want to give you guys a heads up on, and you'll see this probably in your on your regional calls. I did share this with the regional leaders on Friday. So there is some product in Chester that is getting pushed out to the stores. So this is excess product. It's in general somewhere between 6 and 12 weeks of extra supply that's going out. It is primarily everyday and balloon items. It is all active product. It is all on planogram. So it does have a place to go. It's just extra product. And you won't, for the most part, see egregious amounts of this coming in. But in some stores, they will get heavier amounts. Higher volume stores are going to get more of this product than lower volume stores. Unfortunately, the boxes are labeled Reset 30, so RST 30, and I know that brings back memories of the favorite Python event. This is really not that. This is really just about pushing out some everyday product into the stores. We do need space in Chester, and that's why this product is being pushed out. We are working with the merchants to see what other types of promos and maybe help that we can get to generate some incremental sales and move through this product faster and get back more in a regular replenishment schedule. But I wanted to give everybody a heads up. This is shipping this week. So stores closest to Chester, i.e. the Northeast, may see it as early as the end of this week, probably early next week. For those of you in other areas of the country, you're going to see this, anywhere in the next 2 to 3 weeks as this product makes its way across the country. And then there will be a second wave of it that looks very much like the first wave. It's just spreading this out a little bit. So as we get any additional details or call outs, we'll certainly let you guys know. But I did want you to be prepared. On average, stores will get about 130 extra cartons of this product. So it's not an overwhelming amount of product, but it is extra. So just be aware of it. We did talk in a couple of different places about the KPI performance reporting that started last week. Would love to hear any other questions that you may have. I've seen a few come in. Lots of really positive feedback about this. I think it turned out great. Cameron and his team, Eric and Veronica, really did a super job in building this out. But as you guys are getting questions, please let us know. So one, we can answer your questions, but also look at it and provide either a FAQ document or any other training that we need to do for the store teams. And then the last thing is our new alignment does go into effect today. So Retail Net will get updated early this afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, probably around 1 o'clock. That will begin. That will take some time for that processing to occur this afternoon. So you will start to see things update. There are other external systems like SMG, Party Central. Those things will take overnight processing and will start to get updated tomorrow. So there may be a few other lingering things that do take into Wednesday. So what I would tell you is if you see anything that's not right in your district alignment or in your regional alignments that haven't changed by Thursday morning, shoot that as a note to us. You can put it in the DTL chat on Teams, or you can send it directly to me via email, and we'll catch those things up for you guys. So with that, we will wrap up. Hope everybody has a great week ahead, and we'll talk to everyone soon. Thanks so much.